What if the legendary status of the world's most iconic painting wasn't solely due to its inherent beauty or artistic merit, but rather, surprisingly, ignited by an audacious act of theft? For over half a millennium, this seemingly modest portrait has captivated and confounded scholars, historians, and the countless millions who flock to the Louvre Museum. Her enigmatic smile seems to shift with every glance. Her eyes, uncannily, appear to follow you across the room. Her very identity remains a subject of intense debate. And intriguingly, with every new study, instead of answers, only deeper layers of mystery seem to emerge. Join us today as we endeavor to peel back the layers of time and uncover the secrets veiled within the Mona Lisa, seeking to truly understand how this particular face ascended to become the most renowned on our planet. But before we embark on this journey, ensure you're subscribed to the Past Chronicle. Afterward, please share your thoughts in the comments below, letting us know which other profound mysteries of art you're eager to explore. Now, prepare yourselves, because we are about to plunge into one of the most utterly fascinating enigmas in human history. How is it conceivable that a relatively small canvas, painted more than 500 years ago, transformed into the most famous face on Earth? What magnetic quality does this seated woman possess, with her hands gently folded and an almost imperceptible expression that continues to draw colossal crowds even in the 21st century? Our story commences in Renaissance Italy, a transformative era when Europe was reawakening to the marvels of science, the ideals of classical beauty, and the profound power of a human being as the central focus of the universe. In that vibrant world of bustling workshops filled with rich pigments, groundbreaking anatomical studies, and fervent philosophical debates, a singular figure emerged who truly seemed to be living several centuries ahead of his own time: Leonardo da Vinci. He was far more than just a painter. Leonardo was a prodigious engineer, a meticulous anatomist, a brilliant mathematician, a gifted musician, and an ingenious inventor. He observed light with the precision of a physicist, delved into the intricacies of the human body like a master surgeon, and analyzed nature with the obsessive curiosity of a botanist. For him, painting wasn't merely about replicating reality. It was about meticulously decoding it. It meant understanding how the atmosphere subtly blurs distant contours, how light sculpts the planes of a face, and how perspective can playfully deceive the eye. From that explosive fusion of art and science came a portrait that, at first glance, appears deceptively simple. A woman seated calmly before an almost dreamlike, ethereal landscape. She wears no extravagant jewelry, no glistening crown, nor any obvious symbols of formidable power. And yet, something profound within that image seems to utterly breathe. Between 1503 and 1506, Leonardo dedicated himself to this painting, which would later gain renown as the Mona Lisa or La Gioconda. But there's a remarkably revealing detail from its very inception. The painting was not immediately handed over to the person who commissioned it. Leonardo chose to keep it with him for years, almost as if he inherently understood that it wasn't merely another commissioned portrait, but rather a unique experiment, a living work in constant, subtle transformation. During the Renaissance, it was customary to immortalize queens, princesses, or figures of the highest lineage. And yet, a seemingly bourgeois woman appears here, dressed with notable restraint. This decision alone dramatically defied certain prevailing social expectations. Why would such extensive time and such unparalleled technical precision be devoted to someone who did not belong to the elite nobility? The answer, perhaps, lies within Leonardo's boundless artistic ambition. He wasn't interested solely in representing social status. He yearned to capture something far more complex, the very essence of humanity, the elusive, ambiguous moment caught between one emotion and another, the almost invisible boundary separating serene calm from profound mystery. With his groundbreaking chiaroscuro technique, Leonardo masterfully avoided harsh outlines. instead allowing light and shadow to sculpt the face with an almost imperceptible softness. The transition between tones is so exquisitely delicate that the face itself appears to subtly change depending on your viewing angle. It's not a rigid image at all. It is undeniably a living presence. But there's something even more unsettling about it. From its earliest moments, this work was not received as a mere decorative portrait. It was conspicuously different. It possessed a profound depth that didn't quite conform to the artistic sensibilities of its era. Leonardo didn't merely paint a woman. He crafted an optical illusion, a perpetually open question. And yet, despite all this undeniable genius, for centuries, the painting coexisted gracefully with many other great works of art, without completely dominating the scene. So an inevitable and compelling question arises. If its technique was so extraordinary, if its creator was an undisputed genius, what truly transformed this face into the universal symbol of art that it is today? The captivating story of the Mona Lisa is, in fact, only just beginning. If millions of people willingly travel every year just to catch a glimpse of it, how is it possible that we still don't know with absolute certainty who the woman in the portrait is? The identity of the Mona Lisa stands as one of the most persistent and tantalizing mysteries in the entire history of art. For centuries, this figure has been observed, meticulously studied, intensely analyzed, thoroughly scanned, and repeatedly reinterpreted. But her true name remains a subject of fervent debate. The most widely accepted theory posits that she is Lisa Gherardini, also known as Lisa del Giocondo, a Florentine woman born in the 15th century. She was the wife of a prosperous silk merchant named Francesco del Giocondo, who most likely commissioned the portrait to commemorate an important family event. Perhaps it was the joyous birth of a child, the acquisition of a new home, or simply the desire to immortalize a burgeoning social status that was beginning to take shape. The name Mona was merely a contraction of Madonna, which in Italian translates to My Lady. In other words, Mona Lisa would signify something akin to Lady Lisa, and La Gioconda, as she's also famously known, would refer to her husband's surname. This narrative fits neatly. It's coherent, and historical documents offer partial corroboration for this version. But is it perhaps too perfect? Other compelling theories considerably complicate the picture. Some meticulous researchers have suggested that the model may have been an Italian noblewoman, such as Caterina Sforza, renowned for her formidable character and influential political presence in northern Italy. Others point to Isabella d'Este, one of the most influential women of the Renaissance, a formidable cultural leader widely admired for her sharp intellect and refined elegance. There is also a more unsettling hypothesis that the portrait does not represent any singular, specific woman at all, but rather an idealization, a profound archetype, a sophisticated synthesis between precise scientific observation and ingenious symbolic construction. Then there's the most provocative theory of all, that Leonardo da Vinci, in a masterful act of artistic playfulness, painted himself in a remarkably subtle female version. Some comparative studies have highlighted striking structural similarities between the face of the Mona Lisa and supposed self-portraits of Leonardo himself. The intriguing facial symmetry, the distinctive shape of the nose, the precise distance between the eyes, are these merely anatomical coincidences or a deliberate and profoundly artistic choice? If Leonardo was a man utterly obsessed with anatomy and the profound mysteries of the human body, it wouldn't be far-fetched to consider that he delighted in playing with ambiguity, that he experimented boldly with notions of identity and representation. But there is one crucial detail that frequently tips the balance in favor of the Lisa Gherardini theory: the clothing. The woman portrayed wears no royal adornments or aristocratic jewelry. Her attire is notably modest, typical of a well-off bourgeois woman, decidedly not of the high nobility. And in the social context of the 16th century, portraying a woman who was not a queen or princess was, indeed, an unusual and bold decision. So if she truly was an ordinary middle-class woman, how did she ultimately become the most reproduced face in all of history? Perhaps the profound mystery doesn't lie in who she was. Maybe the enduring power of the portrait resides precisely in the fact that we can never be completely sure. And if her identity remains uncertain, her expression is even more profoundly ambiguous. Is she genuinely smiling? Or do we merely think she is? For centuries, the Mona Lisa's subtle gesture has utterly puzzled artists, meticulous scientists, insightful psychologists, and countless everyday visitors. It's not a broad, effusive smile. It doesn't reveal teeth. It's neither exaggerated nor overtly theatrical. It is merely a suggestion, a delicate curve of the lips that seems to subtly change depending on your perspective. When observed up close, the expression appears restrained, notably reserved, even tinged with melancholy. But when you step back a few paces, the entire face seems to noticeably brighten. The smile becomes more evident, more open, almost complicit. It's as if the very expression were dynamically alive. In 2005, a team of researchers employed sophisticated facial recognition software to meticulously analyze the emotions seemingly present in the portrait. They fed the system thousands of female faces, each carefully categorized according to human emotions. The result was genuinely surprising. The analysis suggested that the expression conveyed mostly satisfaction and happiness, with only minute percentages of emotions such as disgust, fear, or anger. But the Mona Lisa is not a photograph. It is a masterfully crafted painting, built from subtle, translucent layers of pigment. And therein lies the fundamental key. Leonardo da Vinci utilized a technique known as chiaroscuro, in which form gracefully emerges from the delicate transition between light and shadow, rather than from strictly defined lines. There are no rigid contours around the mouth. There are no clear boundaries between the lips and the face. Everything is softly, magically blended. This captivating effect, famously known as sfumato, renders the smile not fixed but inherently unstable. The human brain interprets shadows depending on its visual focus. When you gaze directly at the lips, you perceive less contrast, and the smile seems to subtly fade. When you shift your gaze to the eyes or the face as a whole, your peripheral vision cleverly detects the shadows on the cheeks and subtly amplifies the curve of the lips. The fascinating result is a dynamic, living illusion. And then there's the captivating gaze. Many visitors to the Louvre Museum steadfastly claim that the Mona Lisa's eyes follow them wherever they move in the vast room. It doesn't matter if you shift to the left, to the right, or tilt your head slightly. The profound feeling of being watched remains powerfully persistent. This phenomenon is popularly known as the Mona Lisa effect. It is a masterful optical illusion, meticulously created by the way the portrait was constructed using frontal perspective. When the eyes are painted looking slightly toward the viewer, the perceived direction of the gaze appears to remain remarkably constant from various angles. However, some astute scientists have argued that the actual angle of the gaze is not perfectly frontal, but rather subtly shifted to the left of the painting. Even so, the subjective sensation of being seen powerfully persists, and that, perhaps, is what makes it so utterly fascinating. Even when science attempts to meticulously break down the mystery, the profound emotional effect endures. The Mona Lisa doesn't merely look at you. She seems to serenely observe you, with a calm knowingness, as if she possesses a secret you don't, as if she were safeguarding an ancient, unspoken truth. Maybe it's not just a technical matter. Perhaps the real, deeper question isn't what emotion she expresses, but why we relentlessly keep searching for a definitive answer. And if her smile can change depending on distance, what else might be cleverly hidden beneath the surface of the painting? What if the Mona Lisa is not a singular, fixed image, but rather several distinct layers superimposed upon one another? For centuries, this enigmatic portrait was observed exclusively with the naked eye, protected behind its glass enclosure and perpetually surrounded by eager crowds. But with the groundbreaking advancement of technology in the 20th and 21st centuries, scientists began to do something Leonardo himself never could have imagined. They began to peer beneath the surface. Infrared rays, precise laser scans, sophisticated multispectral analysis. Each new technological tool promised to unveil the invisible. In various extensive studies conducted over recent decades, researchers detected hidden sketches beneath the visible layer of paint, intriguing changes in the precise position of the fingers, delicate adjustments to the veil gracefully draped over her shoulders, and nuanced modifications in the underlying structure of the face. The Mona Lisa we behold today is not exactly the inaugural version Leonardo initially began painting. But that wasn't even the most startling discovery. Some highly specialized experts claim to have identified up to 4 distinct images beneath the surface. One of these, according to certain compelling interpretations, supposedly depicted a younger woman with more sharply defined features and conspicuously lacking the famous enigmatic smile. This fueled a truly disturbing hypothesis that Leonardo didn't simply refine the portrait. He completely transformed its very expression over an extended period. Was this an artistic evolution, a deliberate change of intention, or simply the natural, gradual result of years of dedicated work on the same wooden panel? The controversies, predictably, don't end there. An Italian committee made the sensational claim to have discovered tiny letters and numbers meticulously painted in different areas of the artwork. Purported initials subtly placed within the eyes, microscopic inscriptions hidden in the background, signs that could be interpreted as a series of coded messages. However, the Louvre Museum officially stated that its own rigorous laboratory analyses found no conclusive evidence of such inscriptions. Moreover, many of these sensational studies were not conducted directly on the original piece, but rather on high-resolution images. And no matter how incredibly precise these images are, they can never truly replace direct, hands-on observation. So what are we to truly believe? The undeniable truth is that Leonardo meticulously worked in layers. He applied incredibly thin glazes, some almost transparent. Each delicate layer subtly altered the perception of color, light, and profound depth. Analyzing the Mona Lisa is akin to peeling an onion. Each level thoughtfully reveals something new, yet never the complete picture. And the more it is studied, the more the mystery seems to remarkably multiply. The question is no longer merely who the woman was or what her smile means. Now, another even more complex doubt arises. How many versions of the Mona Lisa exist beneath that captivating surface? We think we know. And if beneath the painting there is another story patiently waiting to be discovered, what else might be concealed within that small, unassuming wooden rectangle? What if the profound mystery of the Mona Lisa were not fundamentally artistic, but rather deeply medical? In the 21st century, the rigorous analysis of the portrait no longer belonged exclusively to art historians. Doctors, esteemed cardiologists, and specialized endocrinology experts began to observe the face from a completely distinct perspective. They weren't searching for symbolic meanings. They were meticulously looking for physiological symptoms. One of the most engaging debates revolves around a compelling historical possibility that the woman portrayed was pregnant at the time she was painted. Her hands rest gently over her abdomen, which appears subtly rounded. In the cultural context of the 16th century, that specific posture was not random at all. Additionally, advanced infrared studies revealed the presence of a thin veil draped over her shoulders, known as a garnello, a garment often worn by pregnant women during that era. If she truly was Lisa Gerardini, as many believe, historical records suggest that she may indeed have been expecting a child during that particular period. This would lend significant weight to the theory. But even this intriguing interpretation remains a subject of ongoing debate. The veil could simply be a decorative garment. The gentle gesture could be entirely natural. Still, The medical hypotheses don't stop at pregnancy. In 2018, a physician specializing in cardiology and vascular health made the bold claim to have detected several clinical signs within the portrait. He observed a small, almost imperceptible protrusion at the inner corner of her left eye. He noted a faint capillary line. He detected the partial absence of eyebrows. He also noticed a slight yellowish tone in the skin and some subtle swelling in the neck area. His conclusion was remarkably bold. The Mona Lisa may have suffered from hypothyroidism, a condition related to the vital functioning of the thyroid gland. This illness can cause noticeable hair loss, muscle weakness, and subtle yet discernible changes in facial expression. He even provocatively suggested that the famous enigmatic smile might not be entirely voluntary, but rather the result of a slight, underlying muscle weakness. Is it truly possible to accurately diagnose a person through a painting that is more than 500 years old? Or are we, perhaps, merely projecting modern medical knowledge onto a magnificent Renaissance work? Diet also entered this fascinating debate. In the 16th century, many European regions consumed foods notably low in iodine, which could have undeniably favored thyroid disorders. From that specific perspective, the theory is certainly not unreasonable. But here an even deeper question arises. Are we truly looking at a real woman with genuine human imperfections? Or are we attempting to humanize what has become an enduring artistic symbol? If we accept the compelling possibility that her expression is intrinsically linked to a medical condition, the very nature of the mystery transforms. It would no longer be a deliberately ambiguous smile. It would be a physiological expression unwittingly transformed into a powerful myth. And perhaps that, too, is another vital part of its profound magnetism. The more we endeavor to explain it through the lens of science, the more it steadfastly resists being confined to a single, definitive interpretation. If art and medicine demonstrably intersect in this compelling face, then the enigma belongs not only to the hallowed halls of museums, but also to the sterile environments of laboratories. But none of this fully accounts for its monumental worldwide fame. To truly grasp that, we need to delve into the dramatic day it famously disappeared. Did you know that the Mona Lisa was not always considered the most famous painting in the world? Today, millions of people embark on pilgrimages to the Louvre Museum solely to gaze upon it behind bulletproof glass. But at the dawn of the 20th century, it was certainly a respected work, yes, but by no means the undisputed star of the museum. At that time, the Louvre already housed other undeniably iconic pieces, such as the Venus de Milo, a majestic symbol of classical Greek sculpture. Monumental paintings like Liberty Leading the People and the Raft of the Medusa also commanded significant attention. The Mona Lisa was important, but it did not singularly dominate the global cultural conversation. Everything irrevocably changed in August 1911. It was a Monday. The museum was quietly closed to the public. A man named Vincenzo Peruggia calmly entered. He was not a sophisticated master thief. He did not belong to an elaborate international criminal network. He had previously worked at the museum and intimately understood the nuances of the security system. Dressed in a simple white employee uniform, he deftly removed the painting from the wall, carefully took it out of its protective frame, and simply walked out of the building. There was no dramatic chase, no blaring alarms triggered, no spectacular cinematic scenes. The audacious disappearance was not immediately detected. It was only the next day that someone finally noticed the glaringly empty space on the wall. The scandal was instantaneous and immense. The French press exploded with sensational headlines. International newspapers began publishing alarming reports. The museum closed for days. The police rigorously questioned employees, renowned artists, and numerous suspects. Even the celebrated poet Guillaume Apollinaire was investigated. The name of the legendary Pablo Picasso was also prominently mentioned during the intense inquiries. The priceless painting remained missing for more than 2 agonizing years. Meanwhile, something truly unexpected and unprecedented was occurring. The image of the Mona Lisa began to circulate as never before seen. It appeared ubiquitous in caricatures, compelling advertisements, cherished postcards, and countless newspaper articles. Its absence ironically generated far more widespread fascination than its quiet presence ever had. When it was finally and miraculously recovered in December 1913, after an attempt to sell in Florence, the culprit claimed his motivation was purely patriotic. He passionately stated that he wished to return the work to Italy, genuinely convinced that it had been unjustly looted by Napoleon Bonaparte. In reality, the painting had been legally acquired centuries earlier by the French monarchy. But the significant damage, or rather, the profound effect, had already been indelibly done. The Mona Lisa triumphantly returned to the Louvre not merely as a work of art, but as an international celebrity. Crowds flocked not just to see a masterpiece, but to witness the painting that had been stolen, relentlessly searched for, and miraculously recovered. The overwhelming media scandal irrevocably transformed it into a global symbol. It ceased to be merely a Renaissance painting. It became an enduring, living myth. And here lies the ultimate irony. The illegal act that was supposedly meant to return it to national anonymity ultimately elevated it to unparalleled global icon status. The Mona Lisa was not stolen because it was the most famous. It became the most famous because it was stolen. But then comes the final, profound question. If the theft ignited the spark, what enduring force keeps its immense fame alive more than a century later? After everything we've meticulously explored, the central question still profoundly lingers. Why is the Mona Lisa so extraordinarily famous? It is certainly not the largest painting in the world. It's not the most vibrant or colorful. It doesn't depict an epic, sprawling scene or a dramatic, pivotal historical moment. It's an intimate, quiet, almost understated portrait. And yet, it undeniably dominates the history of art as few works ever have or ever will. Its fame does not depend on a single, isolated factor. It is, instead, the magnificent result of an almost perfect synergistic combination. First, there is the undeniable genius of Leonardo da Vinci himself. His legendary figure became a universal symbol of boundless creativity, profound scientific inquiry, and captivating mystery. Everything he touched seemed to transcend his own era. The Mona Lisa inherently inherited that powerful aura. It is not merely a portrait. It is uniquely a work by Leonardo, and that alone places it squarely on an unassailable pedestal. Then there is the unparalleled technique, the groundbreaking chiaroscuro, the ethereal sfumato, the masterful way light sculpts the face without any visible lines, the almost mathematical proportion that creates perfect visual balance, the illusion of breathtaking depth in a landscape, the subtle optical effect that makes the gaze seem to faithfully follow the viewer. Each of these intricate elements feeds the persistent sensation that there is always something more, something we have not yet fully deciphered. Then come the enduring mysteries. Who truly was the woman? Is she genuinely smiling or not? Was she pregnant at the time? Did she suffer from any discernible illness? Are there hidden images cleverly concealed beneath the surface? Are there invisible inscriptions waiting to be discovered? Each successive generation raises compelling new questions, and each new technological advancement seems to reveal yet another layer without ever fully solving the central enigma. And finally, there's the unforgettable 1911 theft, the pivotal moment when the entire world began talking about her. The instant she ceased being just a Renaissance painting and definitively became international news, a global celebrity, an undeniable cultural phenomenon. Since that dramatic event, the Mona Lisa has been ubiquitously reproduced on T-shirts, humorously parodied in cartoons, boldly reinterpreted by modern artists, extensively utilized in advertising campaigns, and firmly established as a universal symbol of art itself. is no longer just a mere work hanging in the Louvre Museum. It is an indelible image profoundly embedded in the collective imagination of humanity. Perhaps her true, ultimate power does not reside solely in the painting itself, but rather in the profound sum of everything we collectively project onto it. Mystery, unparalleled genius, scandal, timeless beauty, groundbreaking science, intricate psychology. The Mona Lisa is famous precisely because it never fully allows itself to be explained or demystified, and perhaps that, ultimately, is its greatest, most enduring triumph. No matter how extensively we analyze it, how thoroughly we scan it, or how passionately we debate it, there will always be something within its silent gaze that compels us to look at it just one more time. Its enduring fame was not born solely from Leonardo's extraordinary talent, nor exclusively from the dramatic theft that thrust it into global headlines. It was born from the magnificent, synergistic combination of masterful technique, profound human mystery, and a compelling media narrative that continues to captivate. Perhaps we will never know with complete certainty who the woman who so patiently posed for Leonardo was. Perhaps we will never fully decipher her elusive smile. But maybe that in the grand scheme of things doesn't truly matter. As long as it continues to generate new questions, it will remain vibrantly, eternally alive. Thank you deeply for watching all the way to the end. If you thoroughly enjoyed this video and are passionate about this kind of captivating content, please do subscribe to the channel so you don't miss upcoming videos and can discover even more fascinating stories. We'll see you in the next video.